because when you are targeted by the MK Ultra program, they will put you into an area that I call an MCR, a military controlled region. And they'll make sure that they only have their type of agent around you. If you get a job at Danbury Ambulance, they'll make sure they're not going to have anybody remotely normal around you. And it shouldn't come as a surprise to learn that everybody in your town is a member of these secret societies. That is why they've taken over regions, why they've taken over areas and just filled the area with nothing but their people. Because they have been doing these ritualistic mind control games that lead to torturing their target and eventually killing their target for thousands of years. This goes back into ancient history. And they have found out that if they have, one real person in that area beside yourself, chances are you might find them. They find out that if you go to school and half the kids are normal and half the kids are their kids, the normal kids become friends. They don't like their kids. They don't like these children who have psychological problems because they're getting molested at home. And the bottom line is that a lot of these kids go along with their secret societies. They go along with their villainous parents. And their job is to harass you. Their job is to destabilize you and your parents and your family's lives. Their job is to be fake and to attack you. And you're going to pick up on that. Something isn't right with them. Deep down, I don't like them. So you're going to drift to regular people. So over the centuries, they saw that happening. Regular people just don't like them. And they'll rather hang out with people like themselves, who are normal. So that is what they have figured out. So do not be surprised if everyone in your area has been replaced by their people. When I first heard that, I said, that's paranoid. Someone once wrote me a comment on one of my YouTube videos saying that everybody that you've ever known has been involved. And I said, this person is paranoid. But after going through this, it is true. That is what the English government has been doing. What they will do is they will take over all the real estate in a region. It'll be a great joy, a great hobby for them to do that. It's like Monopoly, the game Monopoly. I want to take over all the properties on the Monopoly board, and then I win. That is what they've done in all of these military-controlled regions. That is how they take over a country. That is how they take over all the suburbs. And they create what is called inner cities or slums. They take over all of the farms. They take over all of the suburbs. They take over all of the real estate and the houses. And everybody has to move into little apartments and condominiums in the inner city. And that leaves the vast, beautiful suburban homes and country homes owned usually by banks, by leasing companies, by real estate companies. And I figured that out when I moved to New Hampshire, and I would find towns to go door to door at. I had a flyer that advertised my book. I wanted to advertise my book, so I would select towns at random and go door to door, knocking on the different doors to hand people flyers that advertised my book. And one of those towns that I selected at random was called Londonderry, New Hampshire. And I went door to door over in this beautiful area with all these beautiful homes with acres and acres of land. And every house was unoccupied. Every house in that whole town. I went to 2 or 3 different neighborhoods, going door to door, and it was like every house was completely empty. And this was in the middle of summer. I think it was like in August or maybe September. And it was, on a Saturday. From like 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. The whole town was a ghost town. They are buying up all of the different houses in these areas, and they'll keep them empty unless they want to occupy all of these houses with their agents who will lease the different houses, move in there, and their great highlight will be to send their Melissa Sads and their Mike Fagans and their Anthony Civarellis into your high schools. When these kids are in their 20s and 30s, they will act like high school kids. And they'll go there as part of an MK Ultra program to attack your children. Chances are you are the target. You and your family are going to be the target there. And there's not going to be any or too many regular people living in that area. And regular people means people who are not involved. This is what they are interested in doing. So I have many different documentaries on here where I will discuss some of these ostracization tactics that they will use. When I first moved to Brookfield, once again, everybody shunned me. They had one individual known as Ryan Kish. Ryan Kish was the most popular kid in our school. He was the best athlete. He was one of the best looking kids in our class. Ryan Kish has been identified to be Tom Cruise. So since I was in the graduating class of 1993, Tom Cruise would have been around 30 years old his senior year. And they will use people who are very short, much like Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise was around 5 feet tall. So Tom Cruise, also known as Ryan Kish, was on my swim team. And my mother took a camcorder video of one of our swim meets. and I saw that video of myself walking along the pool. And I looked like a tall, skinny dork. I was probably 15 or 16 years old. And I'd barely hit puberty, and you could tell. And when kids are still developing, you could tell a lanky, skinny 15-year-old kid who is barely entering puberty. So I'm walking from the left going toward the right. And then on the right, you could see Ryan Kish, also known as Tom Cruise, and Brendan Marcy, also known as Alex Jones. He is one of the Alex Jones. And they look like men. They are completely muscular. They look like lifeguards from the TV show Baywatch. So swim season is through the winter. It's a winter sport. And so here's Ryan Kish looking like, I don't know, a weightlifter, looking extremely developed. He's completely tan. He looks like a little man. And compare that to me at 15, you could definitely see that this guy is a full-grown man. So that was in the year 1991 or 1992. So he would have been 28 or 29 years old. And it shows. You could tell. You compare that to a kid who's 15 or 16 years old, and you could see the difference. These agents that they put in high school with me were a lot older than me. These were adults that had no business being anywhere near me. So Tom Cruise was not in Brookfield High School just to get his kicks taking math class again or being the star of the swim team. His kicks included stalking and harassing me. He has developed an ingrained, bitter hatred for me and my family for surviving this. For decades now. I bet you anything he was promised as a 28-year-old young man that he was going to go somewhere and watch one of their targets lose their mind at the high school and then eventually get abducted by their secret society where they could all physically torture and then kill me. That was what he was promised. And that was the reason why they were at Brookfield High School. Was to first psychologically torture me through the MK Ultra program. And through these methods at the high school. And once they were done breaking me, psychologically, emotionally, mentally, they could then do that physically. And that has to do with raping somebody, torturing somebody, and then killing somebody. That is the only interest to these people. Once they have taken over all of these areas, once they have won at the game of Monopoly, once they have taken over all of the businesses, once they've accumulated so much wealth that they're worth 500, 600 million publicly, and you are worth whatever welfare check that you can get, the next act for these people is to say that you are worthless to them. You are a welfare burden to them, and they are doing the world a favor by getting rid of you. And it's not fun just to shoot you. They want to slowly torture you to death for their amusement, because they are sadistic. They are a race of sadists. They are a race of sexual deviants. They have no impulse control. If they got a little kid tied up somewhere, that would be a big thrill to them to go rape that kid until they eventually kill that kid. They have no soul. They have no morality. They are like a separate species from the human race. And for some reason, they hate people. They hate regular people. They could tolerate other people like them, other rich people, other people with low IQs, other people with very primitive mindsets. It's called service to self mindset. Whatever benefits them instantaneously is what is of concern to them. Does it make them profit? Does it benefit them? Then who cares about the rest? Who cares about how that will go on to affect people in the future? Who cares where this will all lead? Does it instantaneously benefit them or gratify them? If so, then they will act on it. That is the only thing that is of concern to them. They don't care about morality. They don't care about ethics. They don't care about human standards. They don't care about human rights. These things do not occur to them. They have low IQs. And so once they've taken over a society, you could begin to tell, because the whole intellectual level of society, the whole the whole frequency of society begins to get downgraded. Everything begins to become a little bit stupid and fake and artificial. Everything gets a little cold and stupid. You'll see everything failing when you get these androids in control of everything. And they take over, of course, the media. So all of your films will become almost pathetic. The people who are writing the films will not write the films, will not write the books for any reason other than to get paid. They don't care about history. They don't care about the artistic content to something. They don't care about the research. They don't care about coming up with something that is historically accurate. The whole heart behind something goes missing. And they're going to pump out all of these films that are generated to make money. Science. They're going to cut all the budgets to all the different science programs. So there will be no advances in the different science programs. So you will also see this in politics. And there will be no real debates. You'll see the ongoing arguments over these preset debates. They're not going to expand that into different areas. They have these pre-selected debates that have no clear answers to them. Both sides have good points to them. And instead of saying both sides have good points, these are the points from both sides, let's go forward. They're going to have these debates go on until the end of time. And two of those debates that they've used again and again for decades now is the debate on abortion, women's right to terminate pregnancies, unwanted pregnancies. And another one of these debates is the border between the United States and Mexico. And what about the out-of-control immigration? So what they'll never talk about is how the Western powers have destabilized the Mexican economy and have caused this. They'll never discuss that. They'll just discuss all of these people that want to evacuate their country and move to the United States to get a welfare check. So they will never discuss all the real facts behind what is happening there. They'll never discuss why these elitists want all of these people coming from the third world country of Mexico into the United States. They'll just have this ongoing debate about open borders and out-of-control immigration. They will never discuss what really is happening there. They'll set up these conflicts and then they'll lie and they'll say that they are pondering how these conflicts came into being. And they'll never tell anybody the background to what happened there, the history to these conflicts. And they'll never try to discuss solutions to these conflicts. They will all be conflicts that they will devise for their own benefit, and then they will talk in circles about it on the news and give people little debates about them that do not lead anywhere. So that will be their politics and international affairs. They don't want anyone to learn anything. And that has a lot to do with the media. For example, if there is a war between Russia and the Ukraine right now, and there was truly a conflict over there, they would have documentaries that discuss the history of that region, the history of the conflict. But no, you're not going to see that. What you will see is military propaganda. They'll set up these conflicts and then they'll lie and they'll say that they are pondering how these conflicts came into being. And they'll never try to discuss solutions to these conflicts. They will all be conflicts that they will devise for their own benefit. They are not going to present history in a truly objective form and be truly honest about something. That is why it's going to take the American public to do that. Don't wait for them to do that. You do that, and you make a documentary about that area. And you will force these people into being a little more honest, because their productions will stand out as being artificial and vague. And it will become more and more obvious. And they will start losing money because real people will prefer to go to other real people for that information. Real people will prefer to go to other real people for their information. They're not going to want to go to the Discovery Channel anymore. They're not going to want to go to CNN or Fox News anymore for their information. They're not going to want to go to 60 Minutes for their information. They're not going to want to go buy Anderson Cooper's new book for their information. They're going to get their information from other real people. And that's going to hurt the legion of androids over here. So once again, you're going to see as the androids take over society more. Right across the board, it begins to lose its intellect, its common sense, its ability to explain the past, present, and future of different situations. It will appear artificial and nonsensical. So what people must understand is that what you are up against has a low IQ. And once you wake up to that, you'll realize what they are doing. Television is designed at this point to just waste your time. They want you to turn on the TV, watch it for 2 or 3 hours, and then if someone says, "What did you just learn on TV? What were they talking about on TV?" Your answer will be, "I don't really know. They were talking about the war between Russia and the Ukraine, I guess." They want to waste your time. They want to confuse you. They don't want to give you any real information. They want to distract you from what's really important. And what's happening right now in the United States is that these people who are connected to the United States military and secret societies like the Freemasons and the Oddfellows, all controlled by the English military, the English government, they have declared war on the middle class in America. And they are looking to destabilize our country because we have human rights and constitutional rights here. They want to rewind the clocks back to 16th century Europe, 13th century Europe, where Prince Tom Cruise and the royal family and the Bushes and the Bidens and the Tarpleys have complete control over the United States. There is no middle class. There's just the nobles and the kings controlling all of the peasants on welfare. And since you are just little peasants to these nobles, they don't want you around. You are something like a food source to them. And they have made up their minds long ago that they want to torture you slowly in live murder shows and snuff films for their amusement. And that is where all of this consolidation of money and power has led to. They haven't taken over all the businesses in America for nothing. This is where it leads to genocide. They take pleasure in watching you executed. They want to watch you suffer because they're not entirely human. This is a race of synthetic human beings. They are a race of people who are inbred, who are victims of child molestation. They have high levels of Neanderthal DNA. They have high levels of Neanderthal DNA in them. And this is all due to alien manipulation. They are manipulated by the aliens called the Greys. And the Greys are a race of hominoids that live on this planet. They're not from some other planet, but they are aliens. They do have spaceships, and they live in the cave systems all inside the earth. They live in deep underground bases. They live in cavern cities. On planet Earth. They don't come from Mars. They don't come from the moon. They do not come from different planets. But they are aliens. And they're called Dracs. And they are called Greys. And they have been manipulating human beings through their religions, through the occult, through their militaries, through genetic manipulation, through mind control, where they induce these people to practice incest and child molestation and become inbred. The aliens will abduct some of their people. They will artificially inseminate some of their people. They will introduce some of this alien DNA to them. The Greys, the aliens, have been introducing chimpanzee DNA to human beings. They want human beings to be Neanderthals. They want to introduce more and more Neanderthal DNA into human beings' genetic codes. So what you will find is a lot of these people that are into this MK Ultra ritual abuse, these human sacrifices, this elitism, everything that I've been describing, they have high levels of Neanderthal DNA. They're also prone to being bisexual or homosexual. This is the type of human being that the aliens want on planet Earth because they are easy to control. This is how they are genetically modifying the human being. And they do not like people like myself, John Harwood. I'm pretty good at resisting everything that they try to do. Their mind control programs, their implanting programs, their alien attacks, their alien possessions. I do not get scared. I do not back down. Nobody intimidates me. I consider myself a leader. I consider myself a very intelligent human being. I consider myself a very strong human being. I love my children. I love women. I love America. And I am the enemy of this race of synthetic humans that are currently attacking America under orders from England.